AI is here. It is taking our jobs. Did you see what the fuck ESPN has? Detailed recaps generated by artificial intelligence? What is my job? What is my purpose? Do I just pass butter? Fuck! Bitch! Football's now off and running. The lull that exists between the fantasy football draft and the actual NFL kickoff feels like a month. You're staring at your lineup. Anything is possible. You have the greatest team, you have the worst team, and it feels like months. In reality, it's only like a couple of days. As opposed to week during the fantasy football and NFL season, Sunday to Sunday feels like 2 fucking days. Everything is hectic. Football's here all the time. I love it. It's already time to panic on some of our top picks, to celebrate some of our sleepers, and to start scouring the waiver wire. You have to try your hardest in this league not to come in last. For better or worse, that's how it works. It's a long season, but it does happen very fast. This week, we already saw TJT get bamboozled by the injury report. The return of Boomer Bust Timmy D, an absolute crapper bowl, and a reminder that Al's pretty good at this. So, in the words of Sun Tzu, pretend inferiority and encourage his ignorance. Now let's jump into this week's recap. I played Alex this week, and my team came out on fucking fire. Thursday night, Lamar and Derrick Henry went litty titty. Nice 34 to 40, 50 something big point lead. Tyreek Hill went into handcuffs, and then he scored an 80-yard touchdown. That's kind of cool. Big baller move. For real. Maybe he does actually want to be a police officer in his next life. Interesting quote. Garrett, you got Alex a nice team, but we all know that Alex needs wins early in the season for this to make any sense, because by week 4, she's pretty checked out, making no waiver wire ads, not gonna make a trade. So if she wants to get any wins to not make the pooper bowl and have any chance at the playoffs, those wins have to come early in the season. My takeaways: I love my team. Alex has a good team, but her season might be in trouble if she can't get these early wins. TJT took on Brennan this week. TJT's really given it his all this season. I thoroughly applaud the effort. Talking to him, he did a lot of mock drafts, note taking, proper draft strategy this year. Like he really had a plan and he stuck to it. He was using websites that I'd heard of, but have never used, which is interesting because I feel like I've used all of the internet. Uh, but it's still TJ Tetro's team. So yeah, not much has changed, buddy. At least not yet. Uh, Brendan almost doubled your points. A 70-point fucking win. Oh my god. You went zero quarterback, and on the waiver wire, and in those later rounds, you left off Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Geno Smith, and Matt Stafford. Instead, you went for that zesty rookie who is quite a silly goose. Rookie quarterbacks have never done anything. Well, except for that guy Sean got. Good for him. Brennan, your boys came out to play. Anthony Richardson is, I don't know. There should be another sport, right? Basketball players are extremely athletic. Football players are extremely athletic, but then you get like those super individuals who it's like there almost needs to be another sport that's even more complicated, that needs even more athleticism to show off what these guys can do. Fuck, Richardson's that dude. Uh, and then the defense, Brenner defense played against Danny Dimes. I can't believe that that's still the nickname that people call him, because I heard a stat the other day. He's thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns in the last like 8 football games. I'll get my research department on that, but I think that's real. Will this continue? Brendan, your team looks good. TJ, I'd be in panic mode, buddy. You started a player who didn't play, and that was your first overall pick, and then it snakes around. So that's 23 picks worth of value. You're sitting down if that guy doesn't play. Fuck. All right. Battle of the cool names. Crazy Rich A Chance uh, versus Brees Lightning. Al does it again. Ramondre Stevenson and a magical kicker. Al's got a good team. This was a pretty pitiful performance from Meg, though. You know, Al, you can score a bunch of points, but this game, does someone win? Does someone lose? Bop, 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 bop. Meg, you fucking lost. Your benched running backs perform better than your starters. Um, Not much to say here. Trevor took on Bula this week. Trevor's updated his team name and his picture. I don't love the picture. I gotta be honest with you. I look like the guy that's mom pays the other neighborhood kids to hang out with him. Trevor, I hope you got a lot of money. But this matchup was disgraceful. Next up, we have Trevor taking on Bula this past week. Trevor updated his team name. Cool name. Lots of puns. But he also updated his picture. Not a big fan of the picture, if I'm honest. I look like the kid in the neighborhood who has no friends, so his mom pays the other neighborhood kids to hang out with him. Trevor, I hope my mom gave you a lot of money. Not a good look for me. But this matchup was worse. This matchup was downright disgraceful. A pooper bowl, a crapper bowl. I don't understand what you guys were doing here. The projected final score was Trevor 121, Bula 126, which is like a reasonable score. The final score actually was Trevor 93, Bula 74. That's horrible. You're getting doubled up almost by some of these other teams. 17 points was the highest score in the game. Bula's highest score was his defense with 12 points. It's not the start you guys want. The first few weeks of the season, I say this every year, is a direct reflection of your draft. So far, I think this shit stinks like a preview of the upcoming last place matchup. Sean took on Signy this week, and I was pretty interested by this one because judging Sean's team, Sean doesn't have an early season team. Sean's got a late season team. He's got the sleepers. He's got those guys who could get better as the year goes on, who could find more opportunity with injury and stuff. Intentional or not, this team is set up to win more in the back half of the season than the front half of the season. Somehow those guys actually did do a lot of scoring this week. TJT was probably running around his house with his pants on fire, thinking, "What the fuck am I going to do now that I don't have my best player?" Sean really just flexed and was like, "Here you go. I'll take this guy, put him right in my lineup," and that man had a day. Jordan Mason, all the yards, touchdowns. But what do you want? Not an injury. My best friend AJ Brown also did pretty well for you, Sean, down there in Brazil. A little confused by that, but that's fine. This was all for naught though, because Signy had a really strong team just across the board, very solid starters. Her highest on defense score was 17.9 points, which is just solid, right? But her lowest was 5.8 points. A very tight band there. 7 players on her team in double figures. Very, very balanced attack all across the board. She was projected to score 123.3 points, and she ended up scoring 123.76 points. I have absolutely no data on this stat, like if that's the closest one ever or anything. I thought this was the closest ever, and then I saw what Tim did. Let's get to Tim and Pete. This was a rematch of last year's championship game, happening early in the season, which does mean that they will play twice in the regular season, having a lot of implications for playoff berths. Tim took this one, though, in pretty convincing fashion. Josh Allen really is the golden retriever of the NFL. If you say run, he's going to go, oh, well, run, touchdowns, yes. And he's going to run all over the place and even do some extra gymnastics to land on his head, hand, wrist, everything that's not his feet as he gets into the end zone. Putting up a nice big old 36 points for Tim. It does seem to be the return of boomer bust Timmy D, because there were many low scorers on his team. So Tim was really buoyed by 3 big point scorers. Down in Brazil, again, don't understand. I bet Roger Goodell did it because of ass. Saquon Barkley did quite a bit to try to get Pete to win. But it came down to a Monday night big kick by that fellow in San Francisco. 26 points from a kicker is pretty unbelievable. And then for it to happen on a Monday night really just makes you feel good going into a Tuesday. You wake up, if you watch the game, if you don't watch the game, if you're at work, Tim, I don't know, maybe you're checking your phone in the middle of a shift and you're like, oh, fuck, that guy's having a heart attack. But my kicker! Yeah, big kick energy. Well done, Timmy D. So that about does it for this week. The season, like I said, week to week feels like 2 days. And we're done with 1 week already. Week 2's already here. Before you know it, it'll be week 6, and there's a chance that you're already eliminated from the playoffs by then. So figure it out quick. Like Sun Tzu said, some words. And go spend all that free agent money. Go make a trade. Go get on the waiver wire. Go figure it out. Hopefully next week we have an intro. And good night and enjoy Hanson.